The Brewers let one slip away. No other way to put it. As the Brewers fall 2 out of 3 in New York, taking on the Mets. A game yesterday they certainly had an opportunity to win. There were multiple spots that they lost this game. Not just one play that you may be thinking of in the 9th or even in the bottom of the 8th. We're going to go through those and get you ready for Cincinnati. Things are a little tough right now in Brewerland. But hey, New Jersey should be coming out today. That always makes everybody happy, right? Locked On Brewers starts now.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, it's Friday. Let's start your weekend with a little energy, a little positivity. There is going to be some tough, hard, look yourself in the mirror Brewers talk here coming up. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen of the day. We're your only daily podcast dedicated to the Brew Crew all season long. We post episodes Monday through Friday, first thing in your inbox in the mornings, and we are also on YouTube as well. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and as well on our YouTube page where we have our In the Hopper series that follows the Brewers with the advanced analytics that you may find that surrounds this team and breaking it down a little easier in layman's terms. I'm the statistician for Bally Sports Wisconsin. I'm at just about every single game. Was covering last night's game for Bally Sports with the Mets and the Brewers, and the Metropolitans win by a final of 5-4. There are a lot of plays that coming down the stretch were the difference of the Brewers. They had a big 4-run fourth inning, did not hold up. There are many reasons why it didn't. You look at the pitching in this game. Brent Suter did not pitch poorly, no matter what Brewers Twitter says. There's also just some rare bad defense from Rowdy Tellez of all folks, and a controversial send by Jason Lane, third base coach of the Brewers, and we're also going to look ahead of the Reds. So I'm going to start with the send. If you missed last night's game, 5-4 final, and the Brewers had to face something I talked about in yesterday in the last 2 episodes, Edwin Diaz. Finally, first time seeing Diaz in the series. The dude's electric. The dude strikes out about half of his batters, and he sits 100 and can rip off this 91-mile-an-hour slider, and he is not easy to hit. He's got 3 blown saves this year, though, and the Brewers are trying to make it 4. In the 9th inning, trailing by a run, Hunter Renfroe led off with a single. So he's on first base. A guy just coming off of a hamstring injury, but healthy enough to get out there and run. For the Brewers, they weren't able to get him over with Jace Peterson. He ended up striking out. They tried to bunt, didn't work out. Tyrone Taylor came off the bench to pinch hit for Lorenzo Cain. Tyrone Taylor, righty versus righty, just trying to put the ball in play and keep the inning alive with 1 out. So 1 out, average to slightly above average speed at first. I wouldn't put him as a burner by any means with Renfroe at first, and Tyrone at the plate. And he bloops one down the right field line, and it spins and goes off to the short wall before the cutout. So a long run for the right fielder, Nick Plummer. The scouting report on Nick Plummer is he has a bad arm. He is not accurate. It is not a strong arm. He's a guy that you would want to test. And given the length that he had to run to get to that ball, Renfroe was able to run on contact because he read that ball perfectly off the bat that he was going to have a chance to score. He was thinking of scoring as soon as he broke for third. And then it comes to Jason Lane. Jason Lane, third base coach of the Brewers. Was it a late send? I never got a clear view of it. The media asked Craig Counsell whether it was a late send or not, but Craig Counsell supported his third base coach in saying, I agree with the send 100%. I do too. And here's why in a second. So Renfroe gets thrown out at home on a bang-bang play, gets tagged in the face, nearly got his hand under there. The tag from Nito would have been an epic score on a chance on the relay. Here's why I'm okay with the send. Similar reasons to Craig Counsell had stated to the media after the game. Edwin Diaz is on fire right now. Heading into this game yesterday, of his last 20 outs, 14 of them were strikeouts. So it's not even, just get the ball and play and good things happen. This dude is up there to get you out via strikeout. That's the way he prefers to do it. So, for one, it was already a miracle that the Brewers even had a runner on base against him. And 2, to even get contact against him was crazy enough with Tyrone Taylor getting that bat on ball to get a air quote double there. And then 3, it may be your only opportunity to send a runner home because of all the strikeouts. And I can already hear the folks saying, well, Christian Yelich is on deck. Come on, you got to give him a chance. Guys, look yourselves in the mirror this season and tell me with 100% confidence that Yelich was going to make contact. With 100% confidence. I don't know where this suddenly thinking it's 2019 again. I know he hit a home run earlier in the game, but I agree 100% with the send. Diaz is there to strike you out. If you get contact, that is an extreme rarity. Renfroe nearly got in. It took a perfect relay from Pete Alonso. Plummer didn't even throw it home. Plummer threw it to the first baseman when he was halfway down the right field line. That shows you how bad his arm is. So the thought was there were two different sections that they could mess up that relay. Plummer's throw to Alonso and Alonso's throw home. If Alonso's throw home is even 3 inches to the right of home plate for Nito having to move to his right and then come back across to tag out Renfroe, we're talking about a very different result potentially. They executed, and specifically Alonso executed. He saved a poor throw from Plummer, threw it accurately to the plate, and a bang-bang play. Like, even if it's a little inch higher, that extra half second maybe could have allowed Renfroe to slide in. I am A-okay with the send. You're a team that is struggling to score runs right now. And this was an opportunity to get a run against one of the league's best closers. You can't say for certain you were going to get another shot at that. And look at Yelich. He ended up striking out even with a man on third and 2 outs. Now, I know with the opportunity with second and third and 1 out, you're thinking, okay, just elevate the ball. Hit a sacrifice fly and you're good. It's Edwin Diaz throwing 100-mile-an-hour seeds. It's not that easy. Christian Yelich has been fighting not being able to get the ball in the air the last month or so. He's got a 66% ground ball rate in this last month and a half. It's just not that easy. I am fine with the send from Jason Lane. I truly am. If you want to come at me, fine. Jason Lane has had other questionable sends. Did he do it too late? I can't say for certain because I never saw a clear angle of how late he was sending Renfroe. But Renfroe, his jump from first, his turns were indicating he was ready to try and score. And you go until you're told stop. It was bang-bang play. It stinks that the Brewers lost on that play. But that's not the reason they lost. You know what the reason is they lost? In 6 of the 9 innings of offense, they went a combined 4 for 19. That 4-run 4th inning, they went 5 for 8. You can't go innings 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 with just 4 base runners, 4 singles. You can't expect to win games that way. It's just not going to happen in the big leagues. The Brewers only had 2 extra base hits in this game. One of them was the dink double by Taylor in the top of the 9th inning. The other was Yelich's homer earlier in the 4th inning. They have not been getting extra base hits. They've not been collecting the gaps or hitting it down the line. In fact, in the 3 games of this series, they only had 4 extra base hits total. The Willy Adames double down the line in the 1st inning on Wednesday, and then Jace Peterson had the pinch hit double later in that big 5th inning on Wednesday. That was it. He had 4 extra base hits in 3 games, 3 of them doubles, and 1 of them a dink. This offense is on life support again. It stinks to say it. It's just not in a spot that gives you confidence to say that, yeah, this is a good enough team to make the playoffs. Or furthermore, when you're in the playoffs, if you were to get there, you're facing aces. You're facing the best of the bullpen. This current lineup, and we've talked about it plenty of times, needs a legitimate bat. The problem is the price is going to be exorbitant. Okay, finding another Willy Adames is not going to be easy. And even Willy's only hitting a little over 200. Granted, he's got 11 homers, so he backs it up there. His glove plays as well, so he gets a little bit of longer leash there. But for the Brewers right now, the way this lineup is meshing, it's not quite working. And Luis Arias is part of it too. I've got some numbers on him. But I just want to reiterate, the game wasn't lost on Jason Lane's send of Hunter Renfroe. The game was lost elsewhere. The game was lost on the error by Rowdy Tellez in the bottom of the 8th. The game was lost, like I said, on only having 4 base runners in 6 other innings aside from that 4th inning, not being able to add on to the big 4-run 4th. And you also talk about the fact that the Brewers did not have Josh Hader in this game. Remember, he is out on paternity leave. We wish them all the best, of course. But the fact is, 99 out of 100 of you would not have Brent Suter pitching in the 8th inning of a tie game. And he did his job. He was getting weak contact. With proper defense, they probably get out of that inning. But they never gave themselves a chance. Brad Boxberger got out of a jam in the 7th. Hobie Milner continues to impress. Man, what a story he's becoming. And the bad news of Aaron Ashby having to exit with forearm tightness, which was later changed. Craig Counsell said it was more like a fatigue issue, not so much like tightness, so they brought it out as a precaution. And Ashby was trying to stay in. His last pitch was throwing 97 miles an hour. So there was something else that the Brewers had saw that felt that they wanted to take Ashby out of that game. It's been Murphy's Law these last 2.5, 3 weeks. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's frustrating. It stinks. It's hard to be a fan sometimes. But it's a lot easier to say, all right, it's just one of these stretches. The improvement is coming. There's a lot of season to go. Than to bail out now and then try to force yourself back in if they're in the hunt like I expect them to be in September and in late August when things are getting really spicy and getting really exciting. So it's tough, but now you got a chance. You have to bounce back against these Reds. I don't like using must win against a tanking team like the Reds, but you need a good showing against these guys. I mean, a sweep is probably what a lot of Brewers fans want. It's hard to sweep in baseball. You need to win 2 out of 3, though. You need to. I need to see life from the offense. I need to see it going to that bandbox that is Great American Ballpark. It's going to be weird. It's going to be tough these next couple of weeks because the playoff teams don't stop. You got the Blue Jays coming to town next weekend. Of course, the Cardinals, big 4-game series with them. You got Tampa Bay coming up. It's getting tough, man. This is the grind. You got to stay with them. This is the grind. I'm staying optimistic, but I understand we can sit here and have a pity party all day. I got some more numbers coming up in a little bit, but before we do that, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors that I've used plenty. It's Athletic Greens. Look, you can do a simple daily micro habit with Athletic Greens. You can take a million different supplement pills, daily vitamins, and things like that, or just 1 scoop of AG1 in your glass of water to start your morning. Boom. You're off and running. Over 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens. It will help you start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients. See, I'm just so excited about AG1, I can't even say it. It supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, your focus, your aging. All of the things can be found in just 1 scoop of AG1. It's less than $3 a day, you guys. Over 7,000 5-star reviews. And furthermore, it's just easy ingredients that your body is understanding and knows how to absorb. It's super easy to incorporate into your life, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. There are no GMOs. It's a simple, great product. Athletic Greens AG1. It's time for you to reclaim your health and your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just simply 1 scoop every day. You can get a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase at Athletic Greens. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I talked about Luis Urias. And remember, when Christian Yelich moved up to the lead-up spot, there was a lot of skepticism, including from myself, saying, well, I mean, that's one way to try to get him going, and it's been going well. He's got a 9-game hitting streak going. Good, hits a home run. Granted, we'd like to see a little more consistent power from him, but it's his 2nd home run of the road trip. Baby steps forward for him. But for Luis Urias batting cleanup as of late, or batting 5th as of late, it has not been working. And I still look back to his jam thumb, which certainly hasn't been helpful for Urias during his ABs right now. But listen to these numbers since the start of that first big long road trip. That was the one that went to San Diego, then went to St. Louis, and so on. So since May 23rd, he's hitting just 149 with only 6 walks and now 26 strikeouts over that stretch. Not great from Huicho. And I know they're trying to move him now into the cleanup spot. So since his jammed thumb, which he suffered on June 3rd, he missed 3 days. So since that jammed thumb, including yesterday, he's just 4 for his last 33. That's a 121 average, 15 strikeouts over that time, too. Another thing that's really hurting him is he's pulling the ball like crazy. He's got a 67% pull rate in just his last week. And then you take that back all the way to May 23rd. He's hitting more than half of his balls in play on the ground. He's pulling the ball 57% of the time. He has not been hitting the ball hard. He's a guy that's been impacted greatly by Colton Wong's absence because of the fact that Colton Wong playing second base just about every day and Weicho over at third, and Wong generally will be batting ahead of him, maybe the leadoff spot or sixth spot in the order. Urias might be a guy that just doesn't respond well to being a focal point of the lineup. And I know Andrew McCutchen has been his protection. Rowdy Tellez has been in protection at times. Kutch has been swinging the bat well. Rowdy had another hit yesterday. But for Urias, you see teams jamming him in, attacking him, not afraid to hit the zone. He may need a day or two, especially if Wong comes back on Saturday like he's currently scheduled to. He did take batting practice yesterday, so that was good to see. But Urias certainly looks like he needs a day or two. He would maybe benefit from moving down in the batting lineup. Overall in this order, though, 15 strikeouts yesterday. That's tied for the most in the game this season. Shockingly, though, it's the third time the Brewers have struck out 15 times in a game. The other times they won both those games, April 30th against the Cubs and May 5th against the Reds. I thought that was rather odd, the fact that they're able to survive despite striking out as much as they did. With Hobie Milner continuing to impress, let's talk about some good stuff with Hobie, right? I mean, what he's doing right now for the Brew Crew, eating up some super important innings and pitching extremely well in high leverage. I mean, picture yourself in that situation. Aaron Ashby looks like he's going to get through the fifth inning. He's pitch count's certainly A-okay. And you're thinking, okay, well, I'll probably be the first guy out of the bullpen today because no Hader and need to pitch the seventh, and then Box would have the eighth, and then, in theory, Williams would have the ninth if he had the lead. That was not the case. Ashby suddenly exits. Hobie has to get up, stretch, play catch, take as long as you can. You feel everybody staring at you like, hurry up, kid. Let's play some ball. Why are you still throwing warm-ups? Like, well, I just got up off the bench. That is a hard situation to jump into. And he handled it, no problem. Gets out of another jam there in the fifth inning, then pitches a scoreless sixth, an inning and two-thirds, 2 hits, no runs, just 1 strikeout, did his job. It's the second straight appearance for him that he's come in to clean up an inning and then thrown another scoreless inning on top of that. Generally this season, he has been primarily a one-and-done type guy. So the fact that Hobie continues to get both righties and lefties out is what's going to keep him in these high-leverage situations. A great, great tool for Craig Counsell, even with, I mean, remember, think of all the high-leverage guys you currently are without. Trevor Gott, John Del Gustave, Luis Perdomo. I mean, that's 3 key high-leverage fireman-type arms. And again, Hader was not available. He is expected to return today here against the Reds in Cincinnati at the end of his paternity leave. So Hobie Milner, including yesterday, he has not now allowed an earned run in his last 5 appearances. That spans over the stretch of 6 frames. He's allowed 4 hits over those 6 frames, no runs, 3 walks. He has struck out 5. Opponents are hitting just $150 off of him over that stretch. And then you also see his strike rate has been about 50-50, which even though he doesn't throw strikes all the time, he's not afraid when he's falling behind in counts. He'll walk a guy here or there. That's not a big deal, but he can pitch to contact. He gets over half of his balls in play are ground balls. Hobie, we've talked about it before with the inherited runners. He's 10 for 10 in leaving inherited runners stranded. He had left 2 stranded the other day. So I wanted to make sure we highlighted how great he looked. Boxberger got out of a jam too. And then Suter. I mean, I felt so bad for Suter in that 8th inning because there was 1 ball hit well in that inning. That was a leadoff single by J.D. Davis. But then you see the weird chopper to first, and I think the game just kind of spun on Rowdy real fast. We don't see that from him very often. For Rowdy, moving to try to turn a double play, what would have been a clutch double play on the ground ball to first that he threw into left field. Then you had the obstruction call that allowed Davis to get to third. So instead of it potentially being 2 outs and nobody on, instead it was runners on the corners and nobody out. With 1 out. So for the Brewers to try to get out of that jam, it was nobody out. I beg your pardon. I was right. It was nobody out. So I had tweeted, this is either going to be the best escape ever for Brent Suter or it's going to end horribly. And it kind of nearly did end horribly because the bad throw kind of stemmed from him struggling with the baseball, getting out of his mitt. If you watch the replay again, it caught him in the heel. And being left-handed, that's a good throw to make going to second base, but he just airmailed it, and he had trouble getting it out of his mitt. But the real bad play from Rowdy wasn't so much that poor throw, but not identifying what Starling Marte was doing over at third base. And with the infield in, runners on the corners, and one out, I understand what he was trying to think of, say, okay, let's try to turn two and get out of this inning, and that run won't count, even if it does come across if we turn two. What Rowdy forgot was the infield was in. Adames wasn't necessarily going to be quick to getting to second base given where he was positioned. And you saw that dance around second for Willie to try to make sure he got his foot on the bag to at least get a out. The game spun and got quick on Rowdy there because Marte wasn't going on contact. Once he saw Tellez had the ball, he froze and made sure he was throwing to second before he did so. I understand what Rowdy was trying to do, but you had to at least take a peek at first base if you're going to get an out anywhere. With it would have been Suter racing over to third to try to cover the bag. And you had a catcher running in Nito, so you would have had time. It's easy to say this sitting here in my office. The game's hard, okay? I understand why Rowdy did the play. I get it. But knowing the speed of Marte, what was in the back of his head, knowing like, okay, well, this guy's going to score if the contact play is on. He just didn't take the second to take a peek if he was actually going, which he was not. Do I think they still would have got out of the inning? I don't know. But Suter had 3 balls under 75 miles an hour hit in play against him, and they got only 1 out of it. Just one of those days, man. Just one of those days that's been happening way too often over the last 2.5 weeks. I understand the frustration. I get it. Totally get it. But nonetheless, onward and upward, Cincinnati is waiting next. I'll tell you about them. Before that, I want to tell you about BetOnline.net, your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. They got stuff up there right now for the College World Series that's going on. This should be a great event getting ready to get going. Love Omaha. Love the good old Rosenblatt. R.I.P. to Rosenblatt. Now it's at TD Ameritrade Parker. I think they just changed the name, actually. Nonetheless, it's Omaha College World Series. 8 teams are in to see who will be crowned the national champion of college baseball. They got all those numbers on there, too. Of course, Stanley Cup playoffs. Avs won Game 1, an overtime thriller over the Lightning. You got fighting news, you got MMA, you got UFC, you got boxing. You got everything you could ever want at betonline.net, your continued source for live betting, esports, and more. You could head to their website today and get in on the trends and the action at BetOnline, where the game starts. Let's quickly wrap up this episode. And full disclosure, if the jerseys are being announced right now for the City Connect jerseys, like I think they're going to be today here on this June the 17th, I hope they look sweet. I really do. So for those who don't know, I'm a caddy at Erin Hills, and I will be on the grass probably at the time that you're listening to this podcast. And what I've heard is that probably going to be released sometime in the morning. The team store is reopening this morning, so I imagine there's going to be some sort of celebration coming out. But you will see them before me because I will be carrying 2 bags on my shoulders tomorrow. So I hope they look good. I've seen the leaks just like you. I've seen the Brew Crew leaks. I've seen the Powder Blue leaks. I don't know what they're actually going to look like, though. I don't know. It's always fun to get new jerseys. That makes everybody cheer up, right? So, again, the scheduled on-field debut from the initial release that the Brewers were going to participate in the City Connect jerseys this year is set for a week from today, June 24th against the Blue Jays. So let's see if we learn more today. If they are actually released today, it would make sense, a Friday release. Let them talk about it for the weekend. And then the Brewers get ready to come back home on Monday. But first, the Reds are standing in the way. 3-game series. Early starts, of course, out of the Eastern time zone still. Tonight, 5:30 first pitch. Coverage begins at 5 o'clock on Bally Sports, Wisconsin. Eric Lauer will get the ball. He's 5-2, a 3.36 ERA, going up against unfamiliar foe and Hunter Green. Hunter is 3-7, a 5.10 ERA. He's a very different pitcher than the last time the Brewers saw him. Of course, he pitched very well in his rematch against the Brewers at Great American Ballpark, remember, after he gave up all those home runs at American Family Field. Man, that's a lot of American in the name of ballparks. Anyway, Hunter Green, still learning, still a rookie, still throws hard. And for a team that just struck out 15 times, let's see how they bounce back after that. Jason Alexander gets the ball in game 2. No record, a 2.16 ERA as the rookie tries to keep things going well in his young big league career. Going up against Graham Ashcraft. Here's a guy that the Reds are very excited about for what he has done so far this season. Ashcraft is 3-0 with a 2.22 ERA. He's only 24 years old. He was a 6th-round pick just back in 2019 out of UAB, out of Alabama Birmingham. Transferred in there from Mississippi State. They got something in the water down there in Starkville. But he's someone they're very, very excited about. 5 starts so far in the big leagues. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys, but only 5 walks in his 28 innings. When you look back at his minor league numbers so far this season, in AAA Louisville, he went with a 1.65 ERA, 3-1 record, 32 innings. He had 17 walks in AAA, yet he's only got 5 walks in the big league. So see if the Brewers try to stay patient with him. I mean, remember, the 2020 season got canceled, so he only pitched the entire season of 2021. He threw 111 innings of minor league baseball ahead of this year. So in total, in the minor leagues, he's only thrown 197 innings between his draft year in 2019, canceled 2020, all of 2021, and a little bit of this year. So inexperienced. Maybe the Brewers can try to exploit that from Graham, but he's somebody that the Reds are very excited about of what he can bring to the table. He will pitch to contact. He will get ground balls. Adrian Hauser, speaking of ground balls, gets the ball on Sunday, 3-7, 4.21 ERA against Mike Minor. The veteran is back and healthy. The lefty is 1-2 with a 7.36 ERA. So righty, lefty is who the Brewers are going against. They are tossing lefty, righty. Again, game times. Tonight, 5:30 first pitch, Central Time. These are all Central Time. 5:30 Central, 3 o'clock Central tomorrow, and then 12:30 Central on Sunday before the Brewers finally return home. This is the last of your 3-city, 3 road trips. It will be nice to have them home and try to welcome them in and get back on track. This is a series they got to get back on track. They got to prove to themselves that they can win a series. The Brewers haven't won a series outright since the start of the last road trip in San Diego, taking 2 out of 3 from the Padres, which felt like a massive win. Because remember, they had no Renfroe, no Adames, no Woodruff missed his day, but no Peralta, no Hader for that series too. So they need to get back on track. They need to have something good going. And it's just been contained to the 5th inning on Wednesday and the 4th inning on Thursday has been their only highlights of these last week or so. Let's have a good weekend, okay? It's going to be okay. Tough stretch, I know. David Stearns is working the phones. Matt Arnold's working the phones. Scouting departments are being deployed. It's not easy, man. This is a tough time of year to have a slump because you feel like the sky is falling. You feel like everything's going wrong. But you still have more than a month and a half until the trade deadline. So much can change between now and then. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back here on Monday. Let's hope it's going to be a happy pod. All right? Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. We will see you next time. Until then, keep on swinging.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.